All right, at this point we're moving on to our last one. We are still looking at our concept of transformations, being able to apply and describe transformations, and today we're going to, or for this video, we're focusing on rotations. Another word for rotations is turns. When a shape is turned, it is rotated around a point, and it can rotate a total of 360 degrees, which is a complete circle. Think of your angles and the degree measure. We often will have shapes rotate in a quarter turn or a 90-degree rotation. A clock is also a helpful item to use to assist you with visualizing your rotation. We can have a half a turn or a 180-degree rotation. We can have a 3/4 turn or a 270-degree rotation. Or this could also be described as a 90-degree rotation, but at this point it would be counterclockwise because it's going in the opposite direction of the clock. Rotations are described as clockwise or counterclockwise. Clockwise meaning they're going in the direction of the clock. Counterclockwise meaning they're going in the opposite direction of the clock. All right, so the sides of their images are always related, and we usually, when we're looking at rotations, it's good to pick one side to focus on. For example, here we have side S, and then this is our rotated side S. R here is our rotation point. That's where we rotate from. And to get from this point to this point, it's a 270-degree turn clockwise, or it can be a 90-degree turn counterclockwise. And almost always with rotations, there are two possibilities, one being the counterclockwise, one being the clockwise. Notice that after a rotation, a shape and its image may face different ways. They may not, depending on how much they are rotated. We can trace the shape and use the tracing paper to get the image and to determine that the shape and the image are in fact congruent or exactly the same. All right, so let's just take a look at a few more rotations. Here we have a shape that was rotated around vertex V, so directly on the image. Sometimes our rotation point isn't directly on the image, sometimes it's off the edge of the image, but in this case it's right on the image. And we have picked one line, this line, to discuss, and it's gone to this point, which is a quarter turn clockwise or a 90-degree turn clockwise around vertex V. So we've told it what turning point it was at. Here we see the same shape, but in this case it's gone this direction, and it's still a 90-degree turn or a quarter turn, and in this case it's going counterclockwise around vertex V. If you look at this image, our point of rotation is right here at A. We can see that it's gone a quarter of a turn. We're using that same line to check our turn distance from this point to this point. That's about a quarter of a circle, a quarter of a turn, or a 90-degree turn around the point of rotation A, or around vertex A. Taking a look at this shape, this is our shape, this is our image. Again, it is a quarter turn going from this line to the same line on that image, a quarter turn, counterclockwise or a 90-degree turn counterclockwise about vertex B, or this would be our point of rotation. All right, now you're going to do the rotation of C, and it wants you to go 180 degrees clockwise around 0.84. So you're rotating C here. Go ahead and copy the shape onto your Cartesian plane that you're going to create from your grid paper and do that rotation. Press pause and do that now. All right, now we're going to watch the quick video of the rotation. All right, now we're going to do our rotation or our turn. It asks us to turn it around 0.84. So remembering what we know about ordered pairs, 8 over and 4 up. That means this right here is our rotation point, or our turning point. And we're going to use tissue paper again. Works quite well in all situations when you are working with slides, flips, and turns, or reflections, rotations, and translations. So again, I'm going to trace my shape. I'm actually also going to dot my turning point. Now, when we are doing an 180 degree turn, if we look at a line, we know to turn 180 degrees would mean that we have to turn a half of a circle. So we're actually going to do a half turn. 180 degrees turn is a half turn. And because it is clockwise, we have to go the direction of the clock. So right now on my pretend clock in my head, my shape is at 3. I'm going to turn it now so that it is at 9, because that would be about a half a turn. So I'm going to take my tissue paper and turn it. I'm going to loosely hold my pencil on the turning point so that my tissue paper doesn't move. It's a quarter of a turn and a half a turn. And now I can see where my shape is supposed to be. So I'm going to lift my tissue paper again. And I can see that my line that is 2 squares long should be placed right here. I'm going to put my tissue paper back down just to confirm. Yep, that is where it's supposed to be. And from that I should be able to draw the rest of it. 2 lines long there, 1 line high here, and then in my L kind of a shape. And there is my rotated image. All right, now we're going to practice describing the image. I'd like you to take the rotation and describe the rotation. Press pause and do that now. All right, to describe my rotation, first I need to determine which is the rotated image, and this is my rotated image. It is not facing the same direction. This is my original, this is my image. I'm going to choose one line. I'm going to choose this end line. So I'm going from that end line to this end line. That looks like it's about a quarter of a turn or a quarter of a circle. I could always draw a circle on there just to confirm. If I were to draw a complete circle, yeah, that would be approximately a quarter of it, so it would be a quarter of a circle. All right, so I determined it was a quarter turn, or a 90-degree turn, both meaning the same distance. It is going clockwise in this case, direction of the clock, so clockwise. Ooh, ran out of room here. I'm going to make this a hyphenated word. Clockwise around what point? Now, my rotated point should be right in this area here, because that's where I would have to have turned from. It was not on a corner. My rotation point is probably right about there. So around point, and remembering over then up, 5, 9. Clockwise around 5, 9. Remembering I need my brackets and my comma in order to make that a ordered pair. You could also say 90 degrees clockwise around point 59. All right, now that you've watched all 3 videos, you have reviewed slides, flips, and turns, or translations, rotations, and reflections. And now you're able to go ahead and do some practice on math page 290, Math to Make Sense, page 298, 299, numbers 1, 2, and 4.